Imagine a predator built for power, not speed. It had thick shoulders, short legs, and jaws that opened wider than any living cat today, but with a surprisingly weak bite. Strange combination, right? It couldn't chase down prey, it couldn't crush bone, yet it dominated the Ice Age. For over 2 million years, this animal ruled the Americas, ambushing mammoths, bison, and even giant ground sloths. But then, as quickly as it rose to the top, it vanished. So what was this creature? How did it hunt? And why did the world's most famous Ice Age predator fail to survive? Today we're uncovering the story of the Saber-Tooth Tiger, Smilodon. Smilodon wasn't a tiger. It wasn't even part of the same living big cat line. It belonged to the Machairodontinae, a saber-toothed subfamily within Felidae. It literally means knife-toothed. Think of the Machairodontinae as an extinct side branch of true cats that split from the ancestors of today's lions and tigers long before the Ice Age. Genetic and fossil work placed that split roughly 18 to 22 million years ago in the Miocene. Within Machairodontinae, paleontologists commonly talk about three major lineages, the first being Smilodontae, the robust, dirk-toothed forms such as Smilodon and its close relative Meganterion, with very long blade-like canines and heavy forelimbs for grappling. Early North American fossils, like Smilodon, hint that this lineage likely originated in North America. Next we have the Homotheriinae, often referred to as the scimitar-toothed cats, including Homotherium and Xenosmilus, with shorter serrated canines and more cursorial long-limbed builds suited for bursts of pursuit. Some classifications merge or reshuffle this group with Machairodontinae, but the scimitar-toothed body plan is clear. Lastly we have the Metailurinae, intermediate saber forms such as Metallurus and Dinophilis, which retain more conical, shorter canines and a more generalised build compared with the extremes of Smilodon. Not every analysis recovers these groups exactly the same way, and a few recent studies suggest that some traditional groupings may not be strictly monophyletic. The headline is simple: Smilodon sits within the dirk-toothed power grappler branch of the saber-toothed cats. Smilodon itself lived in the Americas during the Pleistocene from about 2.5 million to roughly 10,000 years ago. It includes three species: Smilodon gracilis, earlier and smaller, Smilodon fatalis, best known from Ranchero La Brea in North America, and Smilodon populator, the South American giant. Upper size estimates put fatalis up to around 280 kilograms, while populator could exceed 400 kilograms, heavier than most modern tigers and built thicker through the chest and forelimbs. Short tail, massive shoulder girdle, dense limb bones, this cat was designed not to chase, but to overpower and wrestle. The most striking feature of Smilodon were those sabres. Each upper canine could grow over 20 centimeters long, but they weren't crude daggers. They were narrow, blade-like and surprisingly fragile. Perfect for slicing through soft tissue, disastrous for crunching bone. Smilodon's bite force was weak for its size, roughly 1/3 that of the modern lion. Its skull was shaped to open incredibly wide, however, around 110 degrees, so those long canines could clear the lower jaw. It didn't just have to rely on its bite to kill, neither. Instead, it was also a brute. The shoulders and neck acted like a hydraulic press. Smilodon would pin its prey beneath its forelimbs and drive those canines precisely into the throat or the underside of the neck, deep enough to sever arteries and end the fight in seconds. It wasn't built to crush, it was built to cut with precision. This was no pursuit hunter. Smilodon couldn't sprint after herds the way lions do. Its body told another story, one of an ambush predator built for explosive power over short distances. It likely waited in dense cover, then lunged when prey wandered too close. Once it made contact, the forelimbs did the work, hooking onto its target, dragging it down, and controlling the struggle before the sabres came into play. That kind of hunting came with risk, however. Fossils show a staggering number of injuries: broken ribs, dislocated shoulders, even healed fractures that would have crippled a solitary hunter. Some scientists think that suggests cooperation. Maybe these cats shared kills or helped injured members. Others argue that those wounds simply healed during periods of scavenging. The truth is, we don't know. Perhaps Smilodon lived in prides like modern lions. But we do know this: Smilodon hunted up close, face to face, where one mistake meant death. It was a predator that lived and died by precision. During the Ice Age, the world was colder and more volatile than it is today. In North America, Smilodon fatalis shared its habitat with mammoths, mastodons, bison, horses and camels. Farther south, Smilodon populator roamed among giant ground sloths and armoured mammals called glyptodons. Most of what we know comes from the La Brea tar pits in Los Angeles, a natural asphalt trap that's preserved tens of thousands of fossils. Herbivores would wander in and get stuck. Predators, drawn by the scent of an easy meal, would follow, and become trapped themselves. This is a snapshot of an entire ecosystem frozen in tar and time. Smilodon's diet was dominated by large grazers: bison, camels, horses and mammoths. Animals heavy enough to resist long enough for those blades to make a difference. But when the Ice Age ended, that world began to die. The climate warmed, grasslands shrank and the great herds collapsed. And suddenly, the perfect predator in a land of giants found itself in a world of smaller, faster animals that it just wasn't built to catch. Its teeth, once its greatest weapon, became its greatest liability. Too fragile for bone, but too long for small prey. Smilodon's body was a masterpiece of evolutionary specialization. However, this level of specialization is a double-edged sword. When its prey vanished, its entire niche went with it. It didn't just lose food, it lost the kind of food that its body had specifically evolved to kill. By around 10,000 years ago, Smilodon was gone. The end came fast, a perfect storm of change. Climate shifts wiped out its prey base. Humans arrived with fire, tools and coordinated hunting. Competition grew, habitats changed, and a species built for ambush and muscle couldn't adapt to speed and scarcity. It wasn't just out-hunted, it was out-evolved. For millions of years, Smilodon had ruled through precision and power, but the world had moved on, and its body couldn't follow. Today, Smilodon stands as one of the most iconic animals of prehistory. Not because it was monstrous, but because it was perfectly adapted to a world that no longer exists. Its story is a reminder that even the mightiest predators are bound by the rules of evolution. Success demands change, and nature never waits. Smilodon didn't fail, the world simply changed faster than it could. Thanks for watching Prehistoric Fact Files. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Ice Age's top predator, give the video a like, subscribe for more prehistoric stories, and tell me in the comments which creature you want to see next. But until then, stay curious.